Yeah, hey, hello, welcome to the show. I have been doing all sorts of fun audio things, and so I forgot one of the critical ones, which is turn on your microphone. How about that? Uh, Now we're up and running. It seems like we're up and running. Hello and welcome to the show. It's me, JP. It is time for another episode of JP's Product Pick of the Week, which means it must be Tuesday. That's how I can tell. Thank you so much for stopping into our chats. We have the YouTube chat up. Hello, Dave Odessa and Johnny Bergdahl. Welcome and thank you for joining us. And our Discord chat, which if you're wondering where the chat is, let's say you're over in Facebook and you're like, hey, Facebook global login problem was resolved, so I can get back on Facebook. Now I want to watch my Adafruit videos, and here you are, but where's the chat? Well, that's where it tends to be, right there. It is Discord. It's adafru.it/Discord, and you'll look for the live broadcast chat channel there. You can see we've got Johnny Bergdahl, Squid.jpg, Thin Man, Paul Cutler, DJ Devon3, Toddbot. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for stopping by, and also Jim Hendrickson, Sam J. Ohio, C. Grover, who came by a little earlier. Thank you, Sam, for the warning about the product pick being listed at a discount already, even before it came into stock. So hopefully it's in stock now. In fact, I'm going to take a little sneak peek over there while I direct you to the product page. So there you see it's product ID 5872. And if you jump over there right now, you can watch this show inside of the product page, and we should have them back in stock. Yeah, they're going to sell like hotcakes. So I will say jump over there because they're half off, and it's a higher price item normally and a popular one. So I think we had 100 stashed before the show, and they will probably go pretty quickly. So go check them out. And without further delay, let me have Lady Ada jump back just a little bit in time with her new video to explain what this thing is. Here we go, Lady Ada.
This is a new FeatherWing by request, but also I thought it would be a fun build. It's a capacitive touch 3.5-inch diagonal FeatherWing with lots of pixels. This is basically the biggest display you can get with the SPI interface. I misspelled capacitive somehow. I think I was working on this really late at night. We'll fix that in post next board. But you can order now and get the version with the typo, and it might be worth more in the future, like a misstrike on a stamp. So it's a FeatherWing, which means you can plug a feather into it. So let's go to the overhead. I'll show a demo. So this is my prototype, so it's green. And it also has the typo. I didn't catch it in the beginning. But otherwise, it's the same hardware, and you can plug in any feather into it. I will say that the best feathers to use, because it is a big display, are ones that have a fast SPI port. So the RP2040, the ESP32, the M4s. You could use this with the 8266, the M0s, and the 328 and the 324, but it's going to be a little tougher. You're not going to get as high speeds. It's going to be slower updates. Definitely the ESP32s are going to be fast. RP2040 is not too bad either. So you plug in the feather, you get a STEMMA QT port, this nice on-off switch. You can see that the backlight just turned on, turned back off. Backlight driver, and then it communicates over I2C for the touchscreen and SPI for the display itself. Turn this so you can see Adabot in all his glory. So this is the display, and it's displaying over the micro SD cards. There's a micro SD card slot over here. And the capacitive touch is multi-touch. So there's 5 touch points available. So you can see as I put 4 fingers on, it can track each point individually. I guess I can use 5 fingers, but that's kind of clumsy if you use your thumb. So you can have an IRQ line on the capacitive touch to make it pretty fast. It uses the FT5336, and then the display itself is an HX 5379D. Can't remember. I can never remember the numbers, but it starts with HX. And we've got drivers for that for Arduino and CircuitPython. And that's our new product.
Yes, it is indeed. Let me grab mine right here. In fact, you can see. Let's show off that rare typo right there. This is the 3.5-inch Capacitive touch. Very rare demo one, so a typo one. So go and get one of those. But yes, this right here, this is my product pick of the week this week. It is the 3.5-inch TFT Capacitive Touch FeatherWing. This is a 480 by 320 display that you can plug nearly any feather into. You'll want some of the beefier, faster ones to get nice speeds over SPI to the display. It is an SPI display. It has I2C connectivity for the touchscreen element with the touchscreen chip right there. And this also has a couple other nice features. It has a STEMMA QT port on it on the bottom, so you can plug in an extra little add-on or sensor. Has a micro SD card reader on there, so you can read images and other media and assets from there. Log data to it if you want. What else? We've also got an on-off switch on there. There is a reset button on the edge there. And what you do with it is take one of your feathers. I have an ESP32S3 right here, and you'll plug that right in. Let me show you that on the overhead here as I get this set up and running. So there you can see, nice clean board there. I'm gonna go ahead and slot in, whoops, I'm not gonna put it in backwards though, slot in my feather. You'll see we also have a double feather row, double pin row there, so you can, especially while you're testing, plug in some jumper cables if you need to test something out. And that's it. It's now plugged in and ready to go. And let me show you a couple little demos on here. One thing I want to explain actually is that I have a couple of demos I want to show first of just the display, the beautiful display, and some slideshow type images on there. Separate demo I have for multi-touch on there. I, however, damaged this or got a defective unit, and it's not working well when I try to do both display driving and multi-touch on there. So I have a special guest who's going to join us to do that full demo. So we'll get to that in a second. But that's the tease on that. So let me first off give you a look at, actually I'll give you, which one is this? Yeah, let me, hey, cut that out. Let me go to full cam and mini me, actually. Okay, so there you can see, gorgeous display. I'm going to dial in that focus there. Gorgeous display there. I'm going to just use the capacitive touch to advance, so you can see I'm just running through images there just with a touch of the finger, and you can use a capacitive stylus if you want to, but normally you'll just use your finger or other, you know, fleshy body part. Not sure why I said that. I thought it and then I could not say it. But unlike a resistive touch, you don't need to press that hard on it. You wouldn't use a stylus or anything like that. This is all capacitive touch. So there it is, just running really quickly through some images there. These are 480 by 320 wide. And what I can do now is actually, I'll go ahead and unplug that from the USB. I will remove the feather from there, and then I'm just going to pop a different feather on there. And that's one of the nice things about this, is that you can use it for different projects without committing to it, and you can use different chips with their different benefits. So if you want something wireless, you might use ESP32. If you have some other particular needs, maybe a prop FeatherWing, or rather a prop feather like the RP2040. This is just a straight up RP2040. Now this demo, I'm not doing anything with the display on this, but what I'll do is show you the IDE here. And I'm going to just grab my view of the world there. So this should be up and running. Yeah. So here you can see I'm doing, let's see, what's the bottom corner? Is that the bottom corner? I think so. So you can see here, I can go left and right, and you'll see that first number is changing. I can go bottom to top. That second number is changing. You can kind of ignore that third number. It's always just going to say 1 when there's a touch. So that's with one finger. Now I have 2 fingers. So you can see, I mean, I've always had 10, but you can see here I have separate readings for the 2 fingers there. So the finger on the left there is going to a high number for the Y. My right finger is lower. I can move them at the same time. We can get 3 fingers on here. Let me turn this around so it's a little easier to manage. 4 fingers and 5 fingers. I don't think it'll, yeah, it doesn't care about a 6th finger. But there you can see it's happy to stream all of that data all at once, which is really, really cool. And you can see here it's quite easy to use. This is, like I said, just a demo of, that's not the right code up there. Let me open up the proper code. There we go. So I'll just show that again real quick. You can see I am reading one finger, X and Y. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. It's really happy to report all that data over I2C. You can see the code for just reading that is quite simple. We're importing this FT5336 library, setting up I2C, creating that FT5336 device, the touchscreen device, as an object named touch. And then in my main loop, I'm just saying T is the touch points. So that's how you read that, and then I'm just printing them, reporting all of those touch points. You can manipulate things with just individual, maybe only X or only Y, depends on what you need. But there I am reading all those points in, which is pretty cool. This is, let me jump over to the page right here. This is the page. I'm just going to dare to refresh. Okay, we're down to 56 in stock, so not too bad. So if you're interested in this, head on over. It's product ID 5872. And you can throw up to 10 of these in your cart if you have big plans, but no resellers allowed. And you don't need a coupon code. That is on sale for this price, $21.25, half off the usual price. And you can get those until the end of the show. Right around the end of the show, the price will go back up to full price of $42.50 US there. The Learn Guide is linked here. You can see we've got some nice photos there, the pinouts are here. Some of the options you have for this are rewiring it to different pins if you need to. So if you look here, there are some jumpers for the chip select pin and the card detect for SD. So you can cut the jumpers that are on the back there and rewire them to others. You'll also notice one of the nice things is, I'll just hold it up here, there are solder pads for pretty much all of the feather pins right next to them. So if you need to solder to jumper those or for some other wiring needs, you've got those right there. And then there are some instructions here for setting this up to use with CircuitPython as well as Arduino, and some nice examples of those, including a paint demo, so you can throw an image on there and paint strokes with multiple fingers. There is no calibration needed to do what I'm doing here. C. Grover asks about this. I'm actually not sure what the calibration possibilities on this are, but impressively, it just works out of the gate for me. If you did, you could probably introduce some offsets if anything seemed off, but these are very accurate and don't seem to require calibration. Generally, you don't want to be touching the screen when you start it up to avoid calibration issues with other CapTouch boards I've used, but this one I'm not sure about. I'm not sure what the calibration needs are for it. So that's a good question. Maybe a good one to ask on Ask an Engineer if Lady Ada knows, or if anyone else has any ideas about that. Please let us know in the comments there over on Discord or in the YouTube chat. So that is my introduction to it. Now, like I said, I actually ran into an issue with mine. I don't think it's a problem with the design, or I think it was just something defective, or I damaged something where I'm having problems getting multiple touch reads when I'm displaying images. So there's some issue going on there. But I still wanted you to be able to see a cool demo of it, and we're lucky enough to have a guest on the show, first time ever on the Product Pick Show, guest on the show, and that is Liz Clark, who is the creator of that Learn Guide. I believe she wrote the CircuitPython library, and she's going to give us a demo if I can make the tech of all of this streaming work. So give me a second here. We're going to try to bring in Liz. And Liz, can we hear you?
Hello.
Hey, excellent. Thank you so much for coming onto the show to demo for us some stuff. I am going to switch over to straight audio from Liz's mic. If you can let us know in the chat if that works out, that'll be a better quality than her piping through my mic. So take it away, Liz.
All right. Thanks so much for having me on, JP. So much like JP, I have the FeatherWing here, and I have a Feather RP2040 plugged into the back. And what you see on the front here are 4 buttons. There is a touch button library that works with Display I/O, so you can add these buttons to the screen. And when I press the buttons, you'll see that they register touch. But because this is multi-touch, I can press all 4 buttons at once, and it sees that they've been touched. So this would be really great for multiple UI design, or if you need to have multiple buttons create a different state. And so now I'm going to jump over to my code window really quick and switch views. So now you can see my Moo window. And if we scroll up to the top, much like JP's code that he was showing, we initialize over SPI. We have the display bus, and we have the FT5336 touch driver. And then I just have some colors for the button. I accidentally did a Windows theme, I guess. And then we've got a quick dictionary with some attributes for the buttons, mainly just the X and Y coordinates, the colors, and their labels. And then we go through, we create the 4 buttons that are 145 by 225, so it fills up the display nicely because there's a lot of pixels here. And then we add them to the root group. Now, the other thing that we have are button states that are set up as false, and that's how we can track whether the touch point has been registered in the button or not. So if a touch is detected, it gets those touch points in the dictionary that you can see down here, and I can show you by touching the screen that they come in there. And if the point is detected inside the button, it makes that state as true. And then after all those touch points are registered, which happens very quickly, the button selected property for the button class is set to match whatever is in the button states. So that's why when I'm holding down a button, I can press another button, lift up, and it still detects this as pressed. And as you can see, we have a nice dictionary come up with all the button presses. And I did work on this library, and if you want this button code while I was working on it this morning, I thought it might be helpful for folks. So it has been added as an example to the library. So you can check that out now, and I can drop a link in the Discord chat too if you want a direct link to it. But yeah, a lot you can do with this display. As JP said, tons of pixels and the Cap Touch, multi-touch. I think you could really do some cool projects with it.
Thank you so much, Liz. I appreciate it. I appreciate you saving the day and being able to come in with your working demo. A little behind the scenes info here. I almost always order 2 of anything that I'm going to display just so that I can have the luxury of accidentally destroying one and still have something to show on the show. I forgot to do that somehow, or maybe there was only one in stock when I got it with this one. So Liz helped me out a lot by saying, "Wait a second, we have technology. We can do this without sending extra atoms around." So I appreciate you and you coming on to show it, and all your great work on this too. Because yeah, it's a great. You've set up some great demos to make it easy for people to use this and start adding it into their projects. So thank you.
No problem.
All right, so I'm gonna go back here to main view for a second and see if we have any questions over in the chat. Let me take the extra me out of there. Let's see. So yeah, Squid JPEG says 1 for prototyping and 1 for the thing I actually want to build. It's good. Yeah, it's good advice. If you can afford to do it and you think to do it, a spare is nice to have. Let's see, DJ73 asks, will there be Z pressure with the hard-coded 1 being a placeholder, or is there another use for it? If anyone knows in the chat, or if Liz, if you are still listening and in the chat, that would be nice to hear. I know in some cases, capacitive touch devices can measure a difference in not just a binary thing, but are you essentially pushing down harder, which isn't pressure so much as a wider amount of your finger gets onto the display? I think with things like iPhones and other touch devices, I believe there's with capacitive stuff a measure of capacitance that you can check beyond a threshold. Sometimes too, if the threshold is light enough, you can actually engage cap touch stuff without even touching it if you're just hovering over it. So there are some thresholds to adjust in there. Yeah, for anyone not looking in the chat, Liz answered over in our Discord that she'd have to check the data sheet, but right now that's not exposed. And so Tyeth asks, any idea what speed it can update in CircuitPython versus Arduino? I don't know answer to that. If that's the, as far as the cap touch stuff goes, I would think they're both very similar because they're running over I2C, but with lots of other overhead, like doing you're screen painting on that painting demo and showing stuff on the display, you'll start to see improvements if you're using Arduino over CircuitPython. I think, in fact, if you go and look at even some of the videos or GIFs of the paint demo, you'll see that it's just faster overall on Arduino versus CircuitPython for that particular one. All right, so I think that covers it. Let me know if I forgot anything. By the way, there's the Discord. I could be showing this instead of reading it to you, but there's our Discord. This is a nice little glimpse here of the display and the backside there. You can see, I'm just going to check my notes to see if there's anything I wanted to mention before we go. Yeah, so stats again on it. It's a 3.5-inch TFT display, 480 by 320 pixels. You get 5 cap touch support on there. Plug in any Feather board. The display is running over SPI, so Feather boards with faster SPI and beefier processors overall will be favored. We have SD card, micro SD card reader built onto there. It's fully assembled, plug and play, nothing to do other than plug in a Feather that has a row of the header pins soldered onto it, so that's the only assembly you'll have to do, otherwise just plug and play. We have the STEMMA QT connector on the bottom there. You can see reset button on the side and on-off switch. Of course, we have the mounting holes there. You can see I've attached some little standoffs on there so I could put it at a slight angle on my desk there. That is it. So thank you everyone for stopping by today. Head back on over and check and see if there's any left in stock. They will be going back up to their full price. We have 26 of them in stock, so a little bit after the end of the show, that price will go back up. So if you're thinking about getting one, go ahead and do it. Maybe get yourself a Feather. I've tried RP2040 with it, ESP32 S2 and S3 with it, Feather M4 with it. Those all work great for driving lots of pixels on the display. You'll want one of those beefier ones. I think that is going to do it. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. This has been JP's Product Pick of the Week, and this has been my product pick this week. It is the 3.5-inch TFT FeatherWing with capacitive touch. Thanks, everyone. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.